quick introduction on parallel processing. First, we have to understand what is parallel processing and what is not. Okay? Imagine you're standing in front of a sandwich shop and you're looking through the window, and somebody sitting over there is having burger, fries, and drink. Okay? You watch the guy, just put the stuff over there, and you pass by. You come back in, and you see the meal is reduced. So 2 bites of the burger is gone, half a fries is gone, half a drink is gone. You go, and you come back, you see just a little bit of burgers remaining, 2, 3, and you go and come back, and it's finished. From your point of view, that person was doing parallel processing, was eating everything at the same time. Because you saw burger and fries and a drink go down all together. Why? Because you were not looking at the guy at the time, and it was faster than you, so you couldn't see. But when you think about it, the guy has one mouth. So 1 bite goes down, 1 fries goes down, drink. It's not parallel. It's essentially looping through the whole thing. But when you pass by, that's what you see. You think it's going quick, right? That's not parallel processing, that's multitasking. Okay? Parallel processing is you having your burger and watching a movie. That's parallel processing. You have 2 CPUs, eyes, mouth, have nothing to do with each other. You're watching while you're eating. They are both happening at the same time. That's parallel processing. You understand what parallel processing is? Okay. Before C++11, C++ did not have any capability of doing parallel processing. Everything was done sequential, like whatever you have done down to this point, which means you write a piece of code, you execute it, and the next line happens next, and it keeps going like that, right? After C++11, the threads were introduced, and suddenly C++ changed. A thread is essentially one process that is running. So your program right now that you're running is one thread. Main that is running is one thread. You can write another function, you can create another thread, and you can say run. And that will run as your main is running in parallel. You cannot say which one is running first and which one is running next. They are both going at the same time. This is called multi-threading. Okay? Now, RAII, resource acquisition is initialization. What the heck that means? Resource acquisition is initialization. It means when you create the thread, it runs. As soon as you create the thread, it's running. You have no choice. You cannot say, okay, I'm going to create this thread and I'm going to run it later. When the thread is instantiates, it runs. Do we understand that? Okay. Now, like functions that I always scream off top of my lung, a function should have 1 point of entry and 1 point of exit. And you put 3 return statements in your function, and you don't listen to me. With threads, you can't do that. With threads, your program starts at 1 thread, then it branches to several threads as you create the instance. And when it reaches to the end, if you don't join them all back together, your program hangs. It doesn't end. Threads that start must join at the end to the main thread that it was spawned from. And that's what it is. What is the syntax for it? Is the simplest thing that you can think of. Syntax of multi-threading is as follows. So there you go. I have over here say hello, and this is not March 14th, this is March 18th. Okay? So I'm saying hello over here, starting a thread, and then I'm printing multiprocessing, and I'm saying join. If this join doesn't exist, So essentially at line 8, 2 programs are running, main and say hello, at the same time, parallel. Okay? And when it runs, let's see how lucky I am. There you go. Which one happened first? We can't say. It could have been the other one. There is no sequence. I cannot say which one first. You see, main happened first, but the way we saw, this one is supposed to happen first. That's not the case. You can't say which one is going first. It's impossible. Do we understand that? Okay. And we're going to go dizzier as we go forward. So that's that one.
So there was like a
I haven't even started the question. It's like you say hello, you have a question for it. Okay, yeah. Tell me, what was the question?
saying this happened because there was.
You don't know. Next time I run it, the other one may happen. There is no multi-second anything. They run at the same time. They are parallel. I'll explain. I'll show you another example. Now take a look at this. So I have foo. It receives a character and prints 100 characters. Simple, right? Foo. Okay. Now I create a function called threads. In thread, I'm going to create a thread called tx. Now, this is how threads run. You remember bind? That we actually pass a function and the arguments that we want to bind? That's how threads are working. The syntax is like bind. You pass to a thread the function and the arguments that come after. It feeds those to the function. Okay? So it calls foo with caret. That's too big. Then thread y calls foo with dash. And the main thread is calling it with underline. And these two are joining. This guarantees that March yada yada is going to happen first because I didn't call the function yet. So down to this point, we are at the sequential level. As soon as threads are called, the function threads and the two threads will run at the same time. End and finish at the end. And when I run the program, this is the output. You don't know. Those are all 100 characters. Look at the pattern. You see the pattern? And the pattern? Why it keeps closing it? Now my visual it's playing cat and mouse. Okay, so now I run it. You see it changed. Do you see that? And it changed. And it changed. So it is impossible for you to say which one is doing what. Okay? And remember, these are not the only three things are running. I'm recording video. I am connected to internet over there and doing big blue button. All these things are happening at the same time. Don't think there's just these processes that are happening right now. Many, many things are happening at the same time. Now, my computer over there has 8 cores. It has 8 CPUs inside. So does my cell phone. That's the funny thing. So, like, long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, when I started programming, I had 1 CPU in my computer. And it was 1. And if I wanted to do floating point stuff quickly, I had to add another chip over there called coprocessor. Okay, that would be fast then. It could do, okay. That was pure multitasking. It wasn't doing anything. You think we didn't have Windows then? Yeah, we did. It sucked, but it was still Windows. You had different Windows. So it was doing the things, but it was that sandwich eating thingy. So the things you are doing over here, some of them may go through that multitasking, not multi-threading, unless you have a dedicated computer to run your program only. Then yes, you can actually guarantee that what happens over there is exactly multiprocessing. So when you are testing something on your computer and you see things are not running the way you expect it to, like you're doing 5 billion calculations, and then you divide it into 8 processes and you see it just became a little bit faster, it's not because you wrote it wrong, it's because there are 5,000 other things running on your computer. If you had a dedicated computer and you ran your program on it, it was a web server that you are supposed to do something, and it's only your thing running on it or some process that is happening, then it will run really faster. Okay? So thread tx equals, it actually creates a new thread. Okay? So it actually creates, I could say, I could just put in front of thread tx and I do that. Happy? Yeah. Okay, so same. Okay, so yeah. So what I was saying was, yeah. So you just feed it and it runs and it's like that. So well, we're okay down to this point, right? Yes. You're talking about here? This one?
Yeah, and then if we put, so how we, oh, wait, no, hold on.
Yeah, because you joined after.
Okay, so yeah, you say they would come.
Yeah, they would come back together before that, obviously. But if you forgot joining, then we're in trouble. You have a process that, and now it says debugging error, yada, yada, yada. But if it was a standalone thing, it would have hung. Ugh, abort. So joining must happen. Baby steps. Who said that? You say you? Okay. Remember that we had pointers, right? And you had to do dynamic memory allocation, and you had to delete it manually yourself. Then we introduced smart pointers. Wait for it. Okay? Wait for it. And all the things that you see, and I told you that these things are not in the notes mostly. I'm going to keep going, and you will see all the things that you're doing over here. You can just write a standard template library, and you can say, execute foo for me in five processes, and it does it for you automatically. So you can do that, okay? And it's much more efficient than this. But if you don't know what's happening behind the scene, yeah. All the standard template libraries that you learned, like accumulate, like transform, things like that that you do, you can ask it to do it for you parallel. So it does automatically makes it parallel. Threads. Exactly like we have done with bind, that you had to actually pass references. If you wanted to pass a reference and bind it to something, what you needed to do was to put it in a reference wrapper. We have to do the exact same thing with threads. So for example, if I want to know over here, so as you see over here, I have a num over here, and I want to see how many things were printed over here. So characters over here is an array that I'm receiving, and I'm printing all the characters inside the chars 10 times. And I want to return the value num to see how many characters were printed. Okay? Now, there is a problem with threads. Threads don't return values. You can't return values with a thread. It is impossible. when it's returned. Like the action of returning cannot happen. Because if you don't join it, it won't end. And when you join it, it's already done. So how can you return something? You can't. With threads, you can pass a reference of something and modify that in your thread, which is going to open a whole can of worms. We're going to come to it soon. And it's 150. So I'm just going to give you this example, and then the next day you are coming, we're going to continue after this, okay? I would strongly suggest read the threads, okay, and multiprocessing, read the threads, and then you come over here, we continue. So look at this one now. If I want to tx and ty and tm actually hold the number of characters that are printed, I have to put the tx in a reference wrapper and inside it, return it. If it's not a reference wrapper, foo will just receive it by value. Remember that. It's exactly like bind. If you want to pass the reference, you have to put it in a reference wrapper. So your function that is passed to thread must receive a reference, and your thread must be in a reference wrapper. Then tx will actually change using the thread that you have. So it will return the values, and you can actually see the numbers that are printed. So now if I run this, it will show those values as you see, and then it's going to say this one is 60, the other one is 120, and so on and so forth. Why they are all in a sequence? Okay, that was interesting. You see, once they all went sequential, so it happens, okay? Every time that you run it, it's a different way that it's running. But, of course, the first one is 60, 120, and 240, so the values are passed, okay? Are we okay down to this point? Passing reference to threads. Forget it, that's enough. I wanted to go, but just giving you an introduction to something else. So over here, I am having 3 different things. What would happen if I want to get the total number of things printed? What if I pass the address of tx to all of them? Then what would happen? They are all modifying the same thing at the same time. This is called race condition. So what happens is that there's one variable, 3 threads want to change it. It's very possible that the value is 2, and 2 of them exactly at the same time add 1 to it. Therefore, it becomes 3. Or 2 additions were added. You see? So this is going to cause trouble. So we need to have the key to the washroom. What the heck? Oh, thank you very much. Setting things up for me. Okay. All right. Okay. I don't know what happened. I didn't do that. We're almost done. All right. So that's that. And that's called race condition. So we're going to teach you how to make a key to the washroom, like to go to the doctor's office. Somebody gets a key, and no one else can go to the washroom until that guy's coming back. Okay? We're going to create that key and add it to those things that we want to change. So when 20 threads are trying to change something, somebody picks up the key, everybody waits. It does its work, comes out, flushes hopefully, and gives it to the next person. So that's the next day. Have a good day.